7:07 on this Thursday morning. Gary Saddlemeyer and KFAB's Morning News. Pleasure to welcome Art Jetter back to the program, the official evil insurance man of the Morning News. Arthur, how are you?
Very good. How are you?
Good to have you back. Thank you. I wanted to check back in with you here because this is going to be front and center when the new president takes over. The promised repeal and replacement of Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, and now with the Senate maintaining its majority and a Republican president, there undoubtedly will be some movement. But as it's been pointed out a lot, Art, you can't, I don't think, just summarily disband and undo a program that's been in place for a few years and throw, what do they say, 20 million people who have coverage otherwise wouldn't have coverage off. Is that your view? I mean, is it just, can they just do away with it?
Well, if they do away with it and replace it with something, it certainly could keep those 20 million people insured.
Yeah.
I don't really think that's the issue. And I'd like to put it and say to you, you'll remember that 7 years ago on your show, I predicted exactly what was going to happen,
Sure.
and it has happened. So I think the most significant problem that we should be discussing is the impact on individuals trying to buy through healthcare.gov. Most employer plans currently don't have the massive rate increase problems suffered by individuals.
Right.
And I think that they're going to go find an answer right now. We're in the middle of open enrollment for
Yes.
individual health insurance through healthcare.gov and outside of healthcare.gov. So I would like to say that a health insurance agent can help find the best option through healthcare.gov or outside of healthcare.gov. And to find one, people who are looking for a health insurance agent ought to go to nahu.org. That's November Alpha Hotel Uniform, nahu.org.
Okay.
Because open enrollment ends December 15th. It's just a little more than a month away, and they need to do something about that. If we're going to fix the marketplace, we need to go back and look at what worked. And, Nebraska had the lowest rates, health insurance rates in the country before Obamacare went into force. People had a lot lower deductibles, and they were paying probably a third of the premium required today. Everybody in Nebraska could buy health insurance, but it wasn't affordable for everyone. The only thing that we were missing in Nebraska was the tax credit to help people pay premiums. Everybody could buy health insurance either through the risk pool or from an insurance company. If we could go back to the prior Nebraska setup or add a workable tax credit, everybody could afford health insurance, and prices would be much, much lower. But there are some significant things that need to be fixed. One of the things that happened is Obamacare caused many insurance companies to leave the marketplace. I mean, they were all losing money hand over fist. So now, too few insurance companies should cause us to have a concern about the too big to fail concerns that we talked about with banks a few years ago. So there needs to be some way to give incentive to insurance companies to return to the marketplace. And I think the only way to do that is, unlike how it's set up now, there has to be some potential for profit. And, the inventors of Obamacare thought insurance companies had just made way too much money, so they invented the minimum loss ratio. And the way that works is insurance companies will lose money. So if they know they're going to lose money, they'll quit.
Right.
And so that needs to be eliminated. And I would like to put in a plug for reasonable profit, too. Potential for profit forces insurance plans to compete through better plan design, lower cost, and better service.
Right. But I want to get to, and that obviously, for folks who believe in free enterprise and capitalism, that's obviously important. But I want to get to some things. I mean, the repeal has gotten a lot more attention than the replace part of the Republican promise. And I want to get to there are two things that are very popular in the Obamacare law. One of them is the pre-existing condition provision. The other one is kids on their parents' policies until they're in their mid-20s. Can a replacement plan include those provisions?
Well, certainly. Certainly. I remember years ago the president of one of the local huge companies said to me, if everybody were in the system, then we wouldn't have those kinds of problems.
Right. That's the thing.
That is the thing. And to do it with oppressive means, that doesn't make a lot of sense. One of the crazy things is the unintended consequences of the things they put into this Affordable Care Act. One of the things they said was premiums for older people shouldn't be more than 3 times more than young people. Now, that sounds like it makes a lot of sense, but the result is that young people now have to pay 1/3 of what older people pay, and then they don't want to be in the system because it costs so much money. And when younger, healthy people decide, well, hey, that's way too much money, there's a big penalty for actually buying this stuff, they opt out, and then the cost for older people goes up, and the cost for younger people goes up. So that's a horrible mistake. They need to get rid of that 3 times rule. There are so many things that could be done to bring everybody back. The big thing is to get healthy people back in the system.
No doubt.
That reduces the cost for everybody.
Art Jetter with us here. Just before we run, what is your view of the problem with a popular idea, and that is to allow sales of insurance across state lines? Number one, what's the issue with that? And number two, do you have a problem with that? Could that be done, or will that be done?
Well, actually, right now you can buy. It depends on how you define across state lines.
You can buy car insurance, for example. They're advertising. Geico, for example. You just go to their website. It doesn't matter where you live, and you can buy it. You can't do that with health care.
Yeah, in the car insurance world, plans are approved everywhere in the state. But if the idea is that you can sell and you can buy insurance from another state, the rates that you're going to pay are still going to be dependent on the cost of health care where you live. So that doesn't necessarily solve any problems other than to put more insurance companies in play. And insurance companies, they need to obey the laws of those states. There's some merit to it, but not a great amount.
You'd need a federal standard, I'm sure, to make that workable. All right, let's. Okay. You're dubious, I can tell, about that idea.
Yeah, I don't think that's the big deal. I mean, a lot of people point at that as a big solution, but the adverse selection things need to be removed from the market.
All right. Lots more to be told on this. Let's stay in touch,
yes.
Arthur. Thank you so much.
Sir.
Always good to have you on. Art Jetter, the official evil insurance man of the Morning News. 7:15 on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Since